Hello everyone, and welcome back to Modelverse Studio. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. And here we are once again, and this is number 9, Gaia's Ortega's Rig Dom. Now, let's talk a little bit about the illustration here. This image right here looks really nice. And right away you can tell that this is a Dom because of its unique characteristics. Even with the GQuuuuuuX makeover, it retains its purple color scheme, the helmet design, the giant legs, and speaking of legs, it's got this third leg right here, which I still can't get over, and it hasn't really grown on me. I don't like this design aspect. I wish they would have just given it a different thruster instead of just adding an extra leg, but I suppose I could be nitpicking, as in action and when I saw this in the anime, it actually did look pretty okay-ish. Besides that, I think the rest of the aesthetics do work well. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the sides. Here we have some pretty cool action poses. Very cool looking with the giant bazooka. Here's how it looks from the back, and you can see underneath the giant legs. Here on this image it just looks like a spider with all these extra legs. Comes with these extra hand parts and a wire. Pretty good articulation, so you can move the torso, the joints, and other parts to create dynamic poses. And for a kit like this, that is pretty impressive. Usually bulky kits like this don't have really good articulation. And here on the gimmicks portion, we can see that it comes with a bazooka, 2 beam sabers, 2 sets of hands, 1 that's opened, the 2 extra hand parts, and the wire. On the back we get a rear and front view. Now, I was very surprised at the size of this box. For some reason, I just assumed that it was going to be smaller than this. And just for comparison, here's the Xavier's Gion right above it. And I assumed that it was going to be this size. And just for scale, you can see how much bigger the Dom one is. The box being a little bit bigger tells us a couple of things. Either we're going to get some pretty big pieces, or we're going to get some extra pieces, or a little bit of both. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and find out. It does look like we get a pretty good amount of runners. Not a lot of decals though. So we got 5 bags of runners. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here's our manual, some information on the Dom. On the back, as usual, some more action poses, color guide, And here is runner A. And one thing I noticed right away is the mono eye right here. So here we have a purple section, dark gray, and red. Runner B, all purple. Here we can see the opened hand. Very nice amount of detail. Here are some other hands. A couple of other armor pieces. Runner C1, all inner frame pieces. Same thing with runner C2. Runner D1 are the massive legs. D2 is for the third leg that's used as the extra booster. Runner E1 looks like it's all for the inner frame parts for the legs. And they are coated in this metallic color. It's a little shiny. We can see all the little mini thrusters here. Runner E2 is the same for the third leg. Runner F1 is all the black armor pieces. Same thing with F2. Runner G is for the giant bazooka. SB18 are solid green beam sabers. Would have been cool if it was actually clear green. Our yellow wire for the extra parts for the hand. And lastly, our decal sheet. And here there's not that many, most of them white. And here it is, guys, the final build of the GQuuuuuuX Gundam. So if it looks like it's tilted down a little bit, that's because it is, and that's so that it balances the backpack here. If this were to be more straight, it would lose that balance and tilt over. So we have to do this so that it stays up. Aesthetically, this is a very good looking kit. And as I mentioned before, the GQuuuuuuX version does retain some of those classic DOM elements. Again, right here on the head, the color scheme, the big fat legs, shoulders. Again, I don't like that the backpack is just an extra leg. It looks a little bit weird. And even more so when it's brought down, it looks more like a centurion or a spider. I do like this back thrusters though. As for the look at the bottom of the feet, I really do like the high level amount of detail. Even though right here, it is single colored and not multicolor as we see on the manual, it still looks really good. So of course, having these painted, it's gonna make it look even better. In terms of articulation, where you're going to see the most is going to be on the waist. The waist was actually the section that had the most parts. So we can see some movement from the top area. And then there's more on the bottom side. The arms are pretty standard. You can rotate them. You can bend them. There is a pretty good range of shoulder movement, and you can actually pull it back so that you can have even more movement like this. Likewise, since they're a little bit big, they don't really move that much. However, you can still do a knee bend. You really can't do much of a high kick. Again, with this kid, if you have the backpack on, the issue is going to be balance. But we can always go ahead and remove it, and that's not too hard. And now you can have better movement and more stability. There is a little bit of range on the wrist. The range on the ankle, most of it is up and down. There is a little bit of side to side, but I don't think it's enough to really make a big difference. As for the gimmicks, we get the giant bazooka, and right here it is a single color, so it's a little hard to see the details, but it does look pretty cool. We also get two beam sabers in this solid green color with a pretty cool silver handle. I have no issue with the beam sabers, although instead of solid green, I would have preferred that it would have been transparent green. That would have looked a little bit cooler. We also get these two hook-like wired weapons, and since they have a wire, they can be bendable, so you can have different types of poses. And both of these are actually attached to this hand right here, and it is pretty simple. We just have to insert the end of the wire here, and do the same thing for the other one. And then all we have to do is just switch this part with the other part of the hand. Let me go ahead and show you how that looks. And just like that, pretty easy. And if you're not using the beam sabers, you can go ahead and attach them right here on each side. And to attach the bazooka, that's going to be really easy. Just like any other kid, it's going to be sandwiched between the two halves of the hand, just like so. The Dom is a very iconic design, and the GQuuuuuuX version doesn't disappoint. Overall, this was an amazing kit. I had a lot of fun building it and putting this review together. It is sturdy, has a good range of articulation, and it is still really good looking, even if I didn't like the use of the third leg as a backpack. I would highly recommend this kit. And with that, have a nice day, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.